On your feet! Get them going!
Oh, hello. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Cross Examinations Live. I'm your host, Mike S. Miller. Not a pastor, priest, rabbi, any of that fun stuff. Just a guy on the internet talking to you about, well, usually it's about the Bible and stuff, but it's been a pretty unified topic the last week. Because it's just all over the place and it's just a constant. And things just do come up every day. And today is called the Fall and Rise of Charlie Kirk. Why? Because it's something not because of something I said, but something I believe I said it here yesterday. It's possible I only said it on Shad's stream. I was on the Culture Crusade yesterday, as I am wont to be. And let's see. Where did I put it? Here we go. And, honestly, it's weird because Shad kind of disagreed with me, but I'm like, I was talking about Tim Pool and how Tim Pool got black-pilled. Or no, Tim Pool got red-pilled. Do you remember the Very Fine People hoax that was everywhere in the media and everywhere being spewed from left-wing people everywhere? You know, that Trump said that there were very fine people that were Nazis. Very fine people on both sides. Well, when Tim, at the time, was quite the leftist, finally saw the actual video, and he saw the whole video, which is like they always edit the video, because the next thing he says, this is Donald Trump, by the way, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about. The next thing he says is, I'm not talking about the white supremacists and the neo-Nazis. They can go F themselves. He doesn't actually say that, but it's essentially what he was saying, right? He's just talking about the people who don't want history destroyed by, tearing down statues, because history is important. Believe it or not, if those who do not study history are doomed to repeat it. And those are the very fine people he's talking about. He's not talking about, he's explicitly said not the white supremacists and the neo-Nazis. But the media, even up to this last presidential campaign, Joe Biden repeated that lie. And this is like a lie that's been debunked for years by anybody who took them a moment to see it. So I was saying, well, you see that moment in time, right? You see that happen to Tim Pool. I think all this insane rhetoric about Charlie Kirk being a Nazi, being a white supremacist, all of that crap with just the worst arguments, honestly. It's like misquoting him or taking something completely out of context. All of this kind of stuff, I think, is going to drive people, because not everybody is left or right. Some people are most people in the middle. Probably a third, right? Probably a third of the people are in the middle, and they can be persuaded, but those are the ones who are not going to be persuaded. I don't know. I'm sure there's some people. Shad's point was, they're going to hear he's a Nazi and they're going to not want to relate to that, and so they're going to just stay away from it. And I'm like, I think people are garbage. I hate to say it. By and large, people are garbage. But there are people who are going to be, is he really a Nazi? Because the stuff that you're telling me he said, he's not waving a flag around and doing the Zeke Heil, he's just saying some stuff. So let me go research this for myself. And those people are going to become, they're just going to watch Charlie for an hour You don't have to watch Charlie for that long to realize what a cool, calm, polite, kind, forgiving, open person he was. And they're going to be like, all these people calling him a Nazi are insane. And that it's going to push them. And then they're going to start watching Charlie's content, reading his books, and they're going to become red-pilled. And I said this yesterday on Shad's show. Not exactly the same way. And then today, I see this. Charlie Kirk's books, podcasts surge to top of the charts after assassination. It's happening already. I said this would take weeks or months or whatever. It's happening already. These aren't, I'm sure these aren't just people who are like been fans for all these years who've already watched all of his podcasts and already read all of his books, right? They're people, not entirely, but by and large, who are now curious and like, well, gosh, I want to see if all these claims are actually true. Then they're going to be watching his stuff, listening to his stuff, reading his stuff, and he's going to convince them. What you meant for evil, God meant for good. And I posted this and I said, verily, verily, I say unto you, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone. But if it die, it bringeth forth much fruit. They have no idea what they've done. What they meant for evil, God meant for good. And I know that's about Christ, but it's in the Bible. And it's very appropriate because what they've done is they planted Charlie in the ground. And a forest of Charlies will rise up. So good news today on that front. That's it's what I thought would happen, and as if I prognosticated it, the next day this is a headline. How wonderful. How wonderful. Amy says, the stuff Charlie heard people say, and he looked at them aghast, then corrected himself and said something restrained like, oh, okay, well, that's a difference in worldview. Yes, it's true. Oh, also, while I was on that show, if you saw the thumbnail for this, you'll see I wonder if the camera's going to get all wonky. I drew this while I was on Shad's show. It's Charlie as Superman. And then I posted, if DC really wanted to make up for their horrible hiring decisions, they could put Charlie as Superman on one of their variant covers. I thought that would be cool. I'm also working on this one currently. Venom and Gwenom. Well, not Gwenom. Ghost Spider. But anyways, that's got nothing to do with anything. Very nice, Mike. Thank you, Tina. So yeah, man. Also, you guys might have noticed that yesterday's live show is gone because as I actually recorded it on StreamYard. I'm doing this today too as an experiment to see if I would actually get my hours, because this StreamYard thing is terrible. I mean, not the StreamYard, the YouTube thing. Like, so a video usually gets the most views in the first 24 hours. And YouTube won't credit my account for my views on live streams at all for like the first 12 hours at least. Like most of my live streams, you'll get my initial count views, and then I go back and I look at the the hours watched, and it's like almost always like 0 or next to 0. I'm like, I get no hours watched. So I experimented yesterday. I don't know if I want to. I don't need to like show it, but actually I want to see what it is right now. I experimented yesterday by, as soon as the show is over, and I know other live streamers that do this. I know that like Anna, that Star Wars girl, does this. As soon as her live stream is over, she privates it and then uploads it as a video. And I'm like, okay, I'll try that. So I tried that, and check this out. All right, I'll put it up here. So from the upload, and I'll compare this. Hold on. How do I exit my full screen layout? Remove. There we go. I know it's only eight hours. It doesn't seem like much, but this is from the upload. I got 209 views in the first 24 hours. Now look, if I go to the this worked on this one too. I did this, but yesterday I didn't even do this like as an immediate download. I waited for YouTube. Oh wait, did I do it? Maybe I did do it. And then I got, right, 204 views. That's what I should get. Now, if you go to my lives and I go to my live, like here, Open Line Friday, right? I got 100, it's 13 views. Now, if you look over here, it says I got 171 views, which is what I should have gotten. I hate to complain about YouTube stuff but it's just driving me crazy. So I got 171 views. Yesterday's show, I got 353 live views. None of those counted. Watch, I'll go to here, analytics. It says, okay, right now it says 352 views. Like tomorrow, that'll go down back to 0. I don't know why it takes like a day, but like, okay, this is the other one, Charlie Kirk, right? 247. This is the live stream. Let's check out what credits I got. 18 views. Isn't that lovely? So, all right, we've got a little something in the chat here. I'm not going to kick you, Paul. I want to ask you. I'm going to reason with you. What makes you think that about Charlie? I would like to know your reasoning for having that opinion about Charlie. Wait, so can unsee what? Huh? Who? What? That's why the other do premieres or chop it into relevant clips. Yeah, I also started doing clips. I found I was shown an AI program that will clip shows for you, so I don't have to do it. YouTube is killing small channels. Actually, it's kind of different. YouTube is kind of killing big channels. The new algorithm doesn't care how big your channel is, and they're kind of putting a little more juice behind bigger channels. You have far more faith in the normie than I do. I just said most people are garbage. I'm not garbage. That's a terrible way to put it. But most people are pretty cowardly and, evil. I don't know. We're all starting from a bad spot, and then we're trying to get better. Some people just don't try very hard. You should try downloading YouTube Studio on your phone and checking the numbers in real time from there, just to see if maybe the website is glitchy. No, it's not, because it calculates what my total hours are, and I've been paying very close attention. Okay, watch his videos. Even Helen Keller could see it. Okay, Paul, can I try again? What exactly do you personally? I've watched lots and lots of his videos, Paul. So I would like to hear your actual reason, not, hey, go make up your own, or go, just tell me specifically what your personal reason is for not liking Charlie. And if you just don't like his politics, that's fine. Most people, yes, be more specific. Be at all specific. My other channel went from 50 to 100 views to like 0. Oh, really? Wow. Had that fast moving finger on Night's Watch last night. Yeah, well, don't do that here. I have a much broader line of patience. The funny part about Kirk's racist talking pinkos try showing as proof he took from Thomas Sowell. Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, see, if a white man repeats something a black man says, he's a racist. And it's not just the N-word, it's facts. Yeah, I know. I get it too. Look, I get called those words too. So I get called a white supremacist. I'm like, not white. Most people are ignorant and somewhat dumb, which might be the reason of remaining ignorant in an age where everything is clickable. Yeah, it's true. Right? Right? I meant talking points. Talking pinkos. Yes. I knew you meant talking points. I got it. That's a very strange typo. Points. How did you get to pinkos from points? Just threaten them with a defamation lawsuit. Did you hear about Destiny? After Destiny's little rant about saying that conservatives should be afraid to speak their mind, they should be afraid of being shot. Apparently, he got booted off of Twitch. But then people are saying, wasn't he already booted off of Twitch? Why is he complaining? Why is he? Whatever. If you crave a society based on Charlie Kirk, then there's not surprised your country is effed. Paul, can you? I'm trying to have a conversation with you. Right? So you made an assertion that Charlie's a POS. So I would like to know what your basis of that opinion are. I'm not trying to gotcha or anything. Yeah, I honestly want to know what your reasons are. And if it's just because you're a socialist and you disagree with, Christian conservatism, I get it. That's fine. But if that's not the reason, then I would like to know the reason. If you think that everybody that's a Christian conservative is a POS, then I can't dissuade you from that opinion because, that's just like your opinion, man. But I'd like to know why. What is your opinion? Tell me. Why? You don't have to dodge this question. It's a very simple question. This is just a conversation, man. Imagine that moment when you realize you've been radicalized into a terrorist. Terrifying. Yeah. I try to confront these guys on X who are saying all this stuff, and I'm like, do you realize how much hate you have in your heart to want people dead for disagreeing with your politics? I mean, that is murder in your heart. Do you recognize that? And do you want to be that kind of a person? And usually they don't answer. Paul here is, I haven't asked him that because I don't assume, he just said Charlie was a POS. I don't assume automatically that Paul is happy that he's dead and he's got murder in his heart. But if you are happy that he's dead and you do have murder in your heart, Paul, let me know. Which is, Paul, are you okay? Are you all right? buddy. It'd be good for you. Am I missing something? Witches. I saw Ted Cruz trying to paint over an anti-Kirk graffiti, and it was the most funny thing I have seen for a long time. Then that guy needed to immigrate. He would not survive a day. What? Yeah, I saw him painting over the anti-Kirk graffiti, but I don't get that immigrate thing. No, you're not missing anything, Mike. Okay. Paul, are you there, Paul? Are you alone? Is there someone else in your head that's making you spurg out witches? His comment may have gotten blocked by YouTube or something. Usually, if it's blocked by YouTube, it still shows up on the StreamYard. So, Paul, if you're still there, can you clarify, please, for us what exactly, in cogent terms, you find so disheartening about our good friend Charlie Kirk? Looks like he may have had YouTube no-nos in his comment. Oh, okay. Mike, did you turn off the profanity filter? No, we still have a profanity filter on here. So, Paul, you can't swear. All right, try not to swear. Mike, are you saying you agreed with everything Charlie said? No, I don't know everything Charlie ever said. Nobody agrees with everything another person ever said. It's just not possible. The F-bomb should have gotten tagged. But I'm not going to call somebody, even people I don't like, I'm not going to call them a POS just because I disagree with their politics. It's got to be something more than just political disagreement for me to think someone's actually a POS. You saw him failing miserably at a simple task that any man can accomplish with his eyes closed. I didn't sit there and watch the whole thing. I just watched a little clip of him like rolling over it. How long was that video? If you think CK was a good person, then you are part of the problem. Paul, I don't know if you're misunderstanding the questions that I'm asking here. I just want to know from you. I would like a specific, cogent reason why you think Charlie was a POS. Like, what didn't you like about Charlie as a human being, not about his political positions? Because, like I said, there's plenty of good people with opposing political positions. There's lots of Democrats and even socialists that I'll have dinner with and just hang out with, and we'll just talk about other stuff, because political positions by themselves do not make a person a POS. So I would just like you, Paul, please use your little brain. Sorry, that was insulting. Use your brain. Calm yourself down a little bit. Think about it for a moment and tell me what it was about Charlie Kirk as a person that makes you declare that he's a POS. Please. YouTube let him drop an F-bomb. It does not filter out F-bombs. Yeah, I don't know what it filters out. I don't really know. Bunch of birds chirping outside. But that's cheating because he's got... Wait, what? Paul is probably occupied by another smartphone on his rack. A person can disagree with something they said a week ago when they're hungry. Right. We don't agree with ourselves from 30 minutes ago sometimes. Paul has nothing. He's driven by his emotions. Well, that's why he's on the left. And that's honestly, that's why some people on the left can be very good people, because they're driven by their emotions, but they have emotions of love and caring and that kind of stuff. You can be driven by emotions and not be a POS. There are videos on YouTube of him saying pretty ignorant stuff. You really wanted to know, it would be easy. Okay, Corpse Grinder. Then if you want to throw your hat in the ring, go ahead and let me know what it is you think he said that is terrible. Do you think Charlie Kirk was a terrible person? A specific reference would be great. Yes, please give us specific references, please. Speaking of perpetuating the agenda, Paul, I really have a feeling you have never watched any of his videos. I have a brain. I don't have an imaginary friend. Paul, I was a fan of Charlie Kirk. I've seen Charlie Kirk live. I watched a lot of his videos. So, honestly, because you have not yet, and I've asked about 6 or 8 times now for something specific from you that makes you think he's a POS, I'm starting to think you've never watched any of his videos. Because you're not giving me one single item. What that lie says, he didn't agree with me 100%, therefore I hate him. Hey, they did that to J.K. Rowling. She agrees with them on everything except that men can't have babies, and then she's Satan. There's a lot of edited video clips without context spread around of Charlie that only prove how desperate lunatics are to justify his murder. That's true. That is true. And y'all... Andy Arlano Jr. channel. What did Charlie Kirk believe that made him so hated? The most important thing he believed in was the saving blood of Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, and our Father in heaven. This drove libs crazy. Yes, I believe it is because he would go into the devil's den, that is higher learning, educational institutions he'd set up on their front lawn, and he would just convince the people being indoctrinated there that they're being indoctrinated there. And the devil doesn't want you to know that you're being indoctrinated to the point that you can't think, and you just come on shows and say, this guy was bad man, bad man, and not be able to give a single instance or a single example of what might have made this man bad. Just man bad. You may have a brain, doesn't mean you're the one in charge of it. That's true. Yes, Paul Richards, then please give us some specifics. What exactly is it that leads you to believe Charlie Kirk is a POS? Please. Paul says, I'm not on the left. Never voted in my life. Oh, are you not old enough to vote? And again, how about can we just do one example, please? How about one? Just one example of something that makes you think Charlie is a POS. Anything at this point. You didn't like his hair. Whatever. Just make something up. Because clearly you don't know of anything. Otherwise you would have used it by now. Paul Richard, you still haven't answered Mike's question. Put the emotion aside and give a logical answer. Right. Guys, Paul is a bot. Joe K says, I oppose the use of profanity filters. I swear like a sailor. I choose not to do it in Mike's channel since I know that he doesn't like it. Thank you, Joe. Andy says, 1, he believed in the family unit with a mother and a father. Cheers. I believe that too. Paul, out of curiosity, can you share your age with us? Andy, 1A, he believed in the right to life and the dignity of the unborn. True, I believe that too. Jeff Potts says, one has to wonder whether Paul is paid in dollars or rupees. Andy says, 2, he believed in funding our police to fight crime. I believe in that too. Tina says, Mike, I have to come to the same conclusion. He's never watched any of his videos, right? He's just been told what to think. All right, Corpse Grinder. I think he had some pretty bad takes, yes. His views on civil rights, women voting, what he thinks about black women for starters. I could spend 30 minutes typing it out, or you could take 10 seconds to look. I took 10 seconds to look. I took all the seconds to look. I've been arguing with people about this for the past 4 days on X. The what he thinks about black women is bullcrap. Candace Owens is one of his best freaking friends. He, he pointed out. Okay, here's the thing. This fake quote is going around where the quote is something like, "Black women don't have the intelligence to blah 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 blah." Right? He never said that. He mentioned 4 specific people: Joy Reid, Ketanji Brown, or something like that. I don't remember. He mentioned 4 specific people and said they don't have the intelligence, and they were all black women, because the topic he was talking about at the time was affirmative action. So he was saying these women don't have the intelligence, and so they took some white person's job, because he's talking about it. It's as if context matters, right, Corpse Grinder? So obviously you fell for that woman, or for that lie, and that's one of your things, and you're saying I could take 10 seconds to go look. Maybe you should go do some research. Every little claim you're making, you should go do the research. But let's focus on one at a time, okay? Bring me one at a time. Tell me, give me the quote or whatever it is you think that is so bad, because, you might just disagree with it, which is fine. But people are literally lying and faking his quotes to try to say he's a racist and a misogynist and a blah, 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 and a white supremacist and all that garbage. And it's all lies. It's all freaking lies and taking things totally out of context. I mean, the guy spent his life in media. The past 13 years, he's been on media constantly. He should have made more just mistakes. Like the other day, Trump said there were 300 million people who died from something or other in America. And it's like, obviously, that's a flub, because Trump knows there's only 300 million people in America. But you know what? The people that are mocking him for that, the same people that ignored when Biden did the exact same thing. Which, yes, I get the hypocrisy, because people on the right were mocking Biden for doing the same thing, and now they're defending Trump for it. But both of them were flubs. They're just, people make mistakes. I've made mistakes on this. You could go through my YouTube channel, I swear. You can probably go find mistakes I said every show. Paul Richards, Tina T. He said disparaging things about black people, gay people, women, the homeless, non-Christians. No, he didn't. I just cleared up the black people lie. The gay people lie. No, he disagrees. I mean, have you ever watched him have a conversation with a gay person? Or have you watched him? I watched the video yesterday of him defending gay conservatives against a rabid anti-gay Christian dude who came up to question him. And that he's like, we should kick the gays out of the conservative movement. He's like, talking about Dave Rubin and blah, all these gay people that he's friends with, who he wants as friends and in the movement. And he's talking about how Jesus didn't he made it's kind of an age alarming. Jesus ate with tax collectors. Jesus ate with prostitutes. He didn't defame people for their sin, but he did tell them to go and sin no more. Now you're saying because go and sin no more, that's disparaging things about gay people. That's what we call a lie. All right. Women, no. Charlie never said anything disparaging about women unless he's talking about women in general. He might have said someone like, Joy Reid isn't smart enough to do a thing. But that's particular people. You can say things about a particular person, and you're not broad brushing the entire scope of the population of those people. And the homeless, Non-Christian. No, dude, you're lying. Give me a particular example. Give me a specific example. And make sure you've done the research on it and you know what the context is. Because I guarantee you, I'll just tear every single one of them apart. He thought empathy was a weakness, and that should piss Christians off the most. What was the context of him saying that? All right, let's look it up. Let's look it up, Corpse, because I know you're generally speaking a good, what do you call it? An honest dealer. So let me see. When did Charlie Kirk say empathy was a weakness, and what was the context? Let's find out, shall we? And it's so easy to look this stuff up with AI. You know that? Like that black woman. He said bad thing about black women. I looked that up and I found the context, and the context showed that the quote being used was a lie. And then I posted the video of the entirety of what he was saying. Full quote. I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term. It does a lot of damage, but it is very effective when it comes to politics. Sympathy, I prefer more than empathy. I feel your pain. That's it. He did not say empathy is a weakness. He says he prefers the word sympathy over the word empathy because he doesn't like he thinks it's a made-up New Age term. Does that make him a bad person, Corpse? What am I missing here? Is this your best argument for why you didn't like Charlie Kirk? Because he'd rather use the word sympathy than empathy? Corpse, are you serious right now? He believed BLM and Antifa were counterproductive, built on hate and jealousy. That's absolutely true. I don't even think Paul is working with the latest updated script. Wait, what did Paul say? He said disparaging things about black people, gay people. No, he didn't. Charlie Kirk defended gay folk in the conservative movement. Probably wasn't so hateful towards gays. Right. So maybe he missed the morning bot scrum. Corpse Grinder, are you citing from clips or from full segments of those topics? I don't know what this clip is. I can't click on it. Never happened, Paul. You clearly never watched his videos, or you're too emotionally fragile. I think it's the latter. Paul doesn't have an imaginary friend, but believes that men can magically become women and vice versa. I would highly recommend Amir's video on this. Yeah, everybody go ahead and click Buddy's thing. I can't click on it because I'm in StreamYard. Paul, so a bunch of stuff taken out of context in order to make him look bad. That's it. I want to know why you worship. I don't. I only worship Jesus. Oh, a Middle Eastern Egyptian tribal war god. Oh, now you're changing the subject because you've completely been unable to give any actual reasons why you hate a man, why you have murder in your heart. Deflection, right. Okay, now Paul just went into bot mode. 10. He believed that Merrick Garland using the civil rights to block voter ID was abuse of that law. Absolutely. Why are you lying? About what? Paul, you haven't given me one specific quote or anything. You came in here guns a-blazing saying that Charlie was a POS. That was you, right? All I'm asking, and I asked very, very politely about a dozen times now, is for some actual reason you think he's a POS. And then I want to take your reason and research it and to see if it's actually a good reason to think this guy's a POS, because what you're doing is you're pissing on the grave of a good man who was just publicly assassinated. I get the feeling you're glad he's dead. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be coming into what's clearly a Charlie Kirk inspired show to insult a guy who just died. So you're glad he's dead, right? You're going to answer that question for me? Yahweh's not an Egyptian god. I know. That's just dumb stuff. Paul, do you have any religious beliefs that you follow? Are you an atheist? We have a lot of agnostic and atheist people that come here too. Yeah, Corpse Grinder is an agnostic atheist. Or is it an atheist? I don't know, whatever. Paul, you've yet to actually give specifics. Please be critical. When did he say what you're talking about? What school was he at? Yeah, I'll look it up for you. Just give me the specific thing you're talking about. I will look it up on Grok and I will read it to everybody. I'll show it on Grok if you want me to put it on the screen. I don't live in dopey America. I live in a civilized country. Okay. 11. He believed that the lowering of standards in our schools to meet civil rights requirements was damaging to everyone. The damage of low expectations, as explained by Sowell. 1,000%. Do you guys know? Paul here is probably young enough to know because he's probably still in high school. In California, and therefore I think it'll eventually be the rest of the nation, they've dropped grade standards by the full 10%. Remember how was it 60% was a D? Anything it was below 60 was an F, right? Below 60? It's below 50 now. So if you get 80%, it's an A. They've dropped standards by 10% across the board. So 80% is an A. 70% is a B. 60% is a C. 50% is a D. You have to get below. You can flip a coin and get through high school now. The women that Charlie named said themselves they got the positions because of DEI. Right. Yeah. In the very video, he shows the video of one of the women he's talking about in Congress saying how she got there through DEI, through affirmative action. And they're falling for it too. It's very sad. An isolated instance of someone's desktop isn't considered a country, Paul. 12. He believed the welfare state, where we have mothers with 4+ kids with no job living off welfare and HUD, was damaging. No father, no inspiration in the home is damaging. That's just a statistical reality. That's the problem. Is like the people that didn't like what he believed, they don't like reality. They don't want to live in reality. He said deaths from guns were acceptable to keep the Second Amendment, and you disagree with that. Okay, you're anti-gun. That's fine. That makes him a POS. You know how many people die in car accidents? But we consider it the acceptable death rate to allow people to drive cars. Right? You know how many people die in swimming pools? But it's acceptable because people want their swimming pools. Freedom comes with a price. Right? Everything that we can do comes with death. Well, I mean, like physical things, like going for a walk, going hiking, going rock climbing, riding a bike, riding a motorcycle. Oh my gosh, that should be illegal, right? Per capita, riding a motorcycle, you might as well just like be trying to kill yourself. Every kind of thing like that comes with a death rate. Taking a bath comes with a death rate. Bathtubs in your home. come with death rates. They are acceptable because we have freedom. You can have freedom or you can have safety, right? Now, what is it that protects our rights? It protects our civil rights. It protects our, it's not the government, guys. It protects our rights against tyranny. It protects our right to be, to protect ourselves from being stabbed on a subway. It protects our right to self-preservation. It's guns. Does that mean that people die from guns? Yes. But just like cars and swimming pools and bathtubs and a freaking billion other things, it comes with an acceptable death rate because it's freedom. You can have freedom or you can have safety. You can't have both. But again, sometimes the freedom to carry a gun is what is guaranteeing your safety. So that's what, that literally, you think that's what makes him a POS, is that he made that statement, a statement of fact. Once again, some of these guys, they just don't like facts. It's a fact. You better stop driving cars, dude. Stop going to swimming pools. Stop taking baths. Stop going for walks. Just sit in front of your computer. Oh, stop eating McDonald's, for crying out loud. Pretty sure McDonald's has killed more people than guns. And I'm including all the world wars. Like, I also believe Paul is mainly upset Charlie Kirk did not agree with the gay lifestyle, or that Charlie Kirk did not think that lifestyle should be introduced to children. Oh, Paul, are you gay? Are you a homosexual? And what did he say about annual deaths via driving in the same talk? Right, that was the point about driving. It's an acceptable loss because we have freedom. Inevitable is not the same as acceptable. Well, if we thought it was unacceptable, we would stop people from driving. We accept it. We accept it because it's inevitable, because we want our freedom. If you want to curtail freedom, then it becomes unacceptable. In order for something to be unacceptable, that means you do things to stop it from happening. Like you would say, no more cars, no more driving, electric vehicle. Oh, not electric vehicles, right? You are a fascist. Okay, that is. Do you know what fascism is, Paul? Can you define fascism and what the actions of fascists were, and perhaps the fascist political Nazi platform from 1938? Can you go look that up? Give it a good read through and see exactly. Come back to me and tell me exactly what it is you think about what I'm saying and what Charlie Kirk said that is remotely fascist. Because the amazing thing about the American population is they don't know anything about fascism. They just use it as a bad white man word. Also, I'm not white. Empathy for the sake of empathy is weakness. When someone calls you a fascist, remember they are calling for your death. That's right. That's right. Joseph Kelch says, every negative comment on Charlie here is based on complete nonsense and baloney. Nonsense and baloney. In sum, people did not like him because he was not in favor of all the liberal things. So they assume that was hate. Correct. That's correct. And that's why he wanted to talk to people. So I'm trying my hardest to get Justin over, or not Justin, listen, Paul over here to just have a conversation. But he's so stuck on this just be angry, mad at conservative guy, call fascist, man bad. He can't just have a conversation because he's incapable of critical thought. And that's honestly, that's the major problem with most of academia. The first thing you should do is in any college, any high school, any junior high. I think this should be a constant thing taught. You have to learn critical thinking because you wouldn't be where you are if you could think critically. My Lord, you think Soros would hire better bots? Paul, so because you had no retort, fascism? Oh, you timed him out. Who timed him out? Don't time him out. It's great to see people reveal just how incapable they are of using their brains. There is that stupid thing about empathy again. If you see the whole quote, he explained he preferred compassion. Well, he preferred sympathy. The quote is, I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is made up, new age term that it does a lot of damage, but it is very effective when it comes to politics. Sympathy, I prefer more than empathy. That's the quote. BLM, you mean burn, loot, murder? Yeah, right. That's all I saw them doing. No, Paul muted Mike. I'm muted? You can't hear me? What? Sadly, there is no consequence for... Oh, wait, let me turn the comments on stage on. I'm 10 minutes left. I always forget to do this. Lying on here, except that we know they have a very low moral integrity. Well, because they don't believe in morals. And don't mind slandering. It is the same thing the liberals do to anyone that disagree. Yeah, you can't claim moral high ground when you don't believe in objective morals. It's really that they don't see that as an oxymoron always cracks me up a little bit. Again, I recommend Amir's video addressing this. Hey, post that in the Discord, buddy. We'll check it out later. Amir is a black... Oh, I haven't seen that one. Black gay conservative, as if that matters. Thank you, Buddy Rabbit. I'll watch it right after Mike's stream. Empathy would mean you were willing to agree with an idea. Compassion means you simply feel for the person, but still have a different idea. I thought empathy was feeling the feeling of the other person. Wasn't that it? Is Paul on a roof? Check out the window. Sounds like a psycho. Murder in My Heart is a killer band name. Wow, I lost audio there for a bit. Did anybody else lose audio, or was it just Jeff's hearing aid? Did Jeff's hearing aid go? Mike, it's sad how many people are being indoctrinated by our media and schools. It's really sad. It is. It is very, very sad. It looks like Paul has gone into silent or hibernation mode. Yeah, his wires are like... Bot, don't go to high school, Mike. 65 was a D. Don't ask me how I know. Right, but like 61 is like a D minus, or 60 was a D minus, and then 59 was an F. Well, now 49 is an F. At least in California public schools. It's so yeah, that's a literal fact that they're dumbing down the population. It amazes me how some of these left-wingers can believe so wholeheartedly with faith, if you will. But when it comes to Christianity, no faith for that. SD0 says, we didn't have the D grade in my school. Aurelio's A, B, C, F. I never understood the whole F grade, given that after D, the next grade should be an E, but instead they made it an F. Well, E is for effort, Jeff. You could get an E for effort. 13, he said our constitutional rights, including the Second Amendment, are worth the sacrifice. Example, the sacrifice of mean words is worth keeping our rights. Right. Having a gun doesn't mean that you are free. You want freedom, initiate mandatory military service for all adult males. Having a gun doesn't mean that you are free. Having a gun means you are free to protect yourself from someone else who wants to take your rights. It's probably a longer conversation, Joe, than we're going to have right here. freedom for safety. Yeah, it's the trade-off. It's the trade-off. Cars honestly are the best example. It's like, yeah, but you can use cars for other things too. You can use guns for other things. You don't just use guns to kill other people. Jeez Louise. He believed that every person should work hard and earn their job promotions and so on. Yes. A merit-based society? Evil. I think with self-driving cars, they will push to make driving illegal at some point. That's honestly, that's what I'm afraid of. He believed that Hamas is a terrorist radical Islam organization funded and supported by other terrorist groups and people. Facts. We're not fascists. We aren't fond of socialism of any kind. That's correct. What does Grok say about Charlie's MLK quote in context? I just did this one yesterday. I'm trying to remember what it was. Was Charlie's MLK quote in context? Oh, you mean about calling him a race Marxist? In 2015, Kirk called MLK a hero. In 2022, he described MLK as a civil rights icon. These views were often interpreted in the interpretation of MLK's dream of judging people by the content of their character rather than race, which Kirk used to critique modern affirmative action and diversity policies. The controversial, quote-unquote, awful comment, an MLK quote. The primary MLK quote in question stems from Kirk's remarks at Turning Point USA, America's Fest event in 23. This was part of a broader campaign by Kirk and his organization to discredit MLK and the Civil Rights Act, which he viewed as a huge mistake that expanded federal government overreach into private matters, e.g. business, hiring, and associations. Kirk announced plans to release content attacking MLK on January 15th, 2024, calling it the thing you're not supposed to do and framing it as telling the truth about MLK's flaws. The quote and immediate context: during a panel discussion at America First, audio verified by journal, Kirk used this to pivot to broader criticism of civil rights laws. The student got kicked out of school under Title IX complaint using the Civil Rights Act that we as conservatives worship. Oh, MLK is a great guy. Actually, MLK was awful. He's not a good person. He said one good thing he actually didn't believe. The one good thing referenced. This is a direct allusion to MLK's iconic line from August 28th, I have a dream speech. We all know what that is. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Kirk implied MLK hypocritically advocated for colorblindness while supporting laws like the Civil Rights Act that Kirk believed enforced racial preferences and government intervention. The fuller context of the remarks: Kirk elaborated that America erred in worshiping MLK, whose personal flaws, extramarital affairs, and plagiarism in his doctoral thesis, as detailed in David Garrow's 81 biography, Bearing the Cross, disqualified him as a moral authority. He argued the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was a huge mistake because it violated freedom of association, e.g. businesses should be able to discriminate privately without federal mandates. MLK's myth has kept America's shackled to destructive 1960s laws preventing true colorblindness and meritocracy. In a January 15, 2024 episode of Charlie Kirk, titled The Myth of MLK, 82 minutes long, Kirk doubled down. Who was MLK? A myth has been created and it has grown totally out of control. He posted on X, formerly Twitter, ask yourself, why is exposing the flaws of MLK's life and character, something he said we should judge others by, so controversial? So that's about it. And yeah, all that stuff about MLK is actually true. You can look that up. So it's kind of the way. Have you seen Razor Fist's video on Abraham Lincoln and like all the really kind of tyrannical, anti-constitutional stuff Lincoln actually did. It's kind of like that. We've elevated certain people to be beyond criticism, and MLK is one of them. But if you want to look, I mean, the dude was an adulterer. So calling yourself a reverend and being an adulterer, one of these things is not like the other, right? I don't know about you guys, but in churches that I know, if a pastor is an adulterer, they get the boot. All right, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom since Corpse Grinder is responding immediately. Sounds like Charlie would agree with people pointing out flaws in his character, and his death shouldn't be overblown. His death shouldn't be overblown? Oh, he's not saying that Martin Luther King's death wasn't overblown. And yeah, fine. What are the flaws in his character? Charlie was an adulterer. Charlie was actually for, I think this talking point of MLK literally comes from Thomas Sowell. Right. But, Thomas Sowell, he's black, so we can't go after him for being a racist. See, that's the thing. Facts can't be racist. MLK was an adulterer. MLK was, he based a lot of his policies on socialistic agenda. You can't say, I mean, obviously people on the left think that's great, but people on the right, if you're right wing, you don't want socialist based agendas, right? You haven't pointed out any truthful character flaws, genius, right? Empathy is just feeling what others feel. It can be, but also being able to understand why others feel that way they do. Well, that's sympathy. Just being able to understand why people feel that way they do. That's sympathy, right? Or is that just feeling bad for people feeling the way they do? Personally, I think being able to see why others think and feel is important. Isn't important. All right. My hair makes me sexy. Mike, Paul does not want a conversation. Oh, clearly he's noped out and has been incapable of making any kind of an argument whatsoever. He just comes in with an assertion and then completely fails throughout the rest of the hour. He started at the beginning of the show with the assertion that Charlie Kirk is a POS, and then asked a dozen or more times to expand and give me a reason, a valid reason why you think he's a POS. He has failed to do so for the entire show. This is the totality of Twitter right now. People either believe lies about Charlie Kirk or they spread lies about Charlie Kirk. And they've never actually watched anything Charlie Kirk ever said. They know nothing about his actual character. This guy never even yelled at his wife. I mean, you could be the nicest guy on earth, and heck, I've yelled at my wife. I yell at my kids. Ask him. He hated it. I had to stop yelling. I'm a yeller. But you can't give me any reason why you can disagree with the guy's policies. Look, I disagree with Bill Maher on probably 90% of what Bill Maher says, but I'd love to go have a drink with the guy. Right? It's just because you disagree with someone's policies does not make them a POS. And for the love of God and all that is holy, don't let that make you want that person dead. Is it that hard? Is it that hard to just be a decent human being and not? Anyways, that's it. We're over an hour. Well over an hour. God bless you all. I'm going to take this down and re-upload it. God bless you. I'll see you all in the next exciting episode of Cross Examinations.